The Niger River is one of the most important economic pillars of the 9-member country of Niger Basin Authority (NBA). The basin is populated by approximately 160 million people, 85% of whom live in rural areas, where food, security, and social well-being depend directly on natural resources. Its management is ensured by the Niger River Authority, which is an intergovernmental organization in charge of promoting cooperation between the member states and contributing to the improvement of the living condition of the basin population through the sustainable management of water resources and associated ecosystems. But there is, since many decades, the Niger River is confronted with phenomena of the basin natural resources degradation at a worrying scale.
Since climate change occurred in the early 1970s to the present day, the Niger River has been confronted with a degradation of the low water level of the land, as well as the fluidity and water quantities. Other difficulties include land degradation, pressure on resources, rapid demographic growth. You can see that it is the earth that is taken to make the bricks. Then the trees are cut down to fire the bricks, which increases the devastation. A brick kiln is no less than 20,000 bricks. When wood is cut on the banks of the Niger, when a fire is set on the banks of the Niger, when the water bed is disturbed, even the smallest hazard on the river causes flooding. People grow vegetables in the major river bed. They will work the soil, which will loosen, and during the flood, all this quantity of earth will fill. This is the first aspect of silting. The second aspect is the chemical fertilizers that are used for these crops, especially nitrates and phosphatic fertilizer. The crops are not going to consume this chemical fertilizer, and during the flood, nearly 60% of these fertilizers are going to spill into the water. These nitrates are very dangerous for the fauna life of the river.
To provide a solution, the head of state and government of the basin decided to create a Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund (FRACC) and the Mechanism for Payment for Environmental Service (PES) in the Niger Basin. The FRACC/PES was to identified as endogenous, autonomous initiative and sustainable solution for the preservation and sustainability of the NRS of Niger Basin.
Two options have been identified to move toward the establishment and operationalization of the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund. The first option is to harmonize the legislation of the countries so that each country can create a climate change adaptation fund, and this national fund will continue the national branches of the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund. This is the first option that is being considered. The second option that is being considered is to develop and adopt a regional tax that will be based on the water provision of the Niger Basin Authority (NBA) that all countries have already ratified. At this time, it will be the Niger Basin Authority that will carry the process forward and lead it to completion on behalf of the member country. These are therefore the two options that are in the process of setting up the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund and making it operational. As for the potential simulation have also been made on the basis of what exists at the basin level. Regarding the potential contributions to the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund and the payment mechanism for services, two levels of potential contributors have been identified and studied concretely. The first potential is contribution that will come from national mechanisms that currently exist and are already operational in a number of countries of the Niger Basin Authority, mainly the National Fund for the Environment and the Climate of Benin, the Mining Investment Fund of Guinea, the Local Development Fund of Mali, the Special Affection Account of Cameroon, and the Special Fund for the Environment of Chad. On the basis of the assumption that are already operational at the level of its countries, will agree to retrocede 2% of the resources they mobilize in the year to the FRACC. It will be about 138 million per year that will be mobilized for the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund. If these same countries manage to put in place and operationalize the other funds that are possible to put in place in accordance with the prescription of the Charter, and if the other countries follow, it will be important resources that will be mobilized as part of this potential to improve the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund. The second level of potential study is the contribution that will come from what we call the major users, which are the major water withdrawers in the Niger Basin. For example, drinking water supplied companies, hydro-agricultural development, and hydroelectric dams. Also, from this point of view, on basis of two insignificant hypotheses of 1 meter square of water withdrawal or 1 million CFA francs per gigawatt hour produced, the scenarios have been studied. For the first scenario, it is a contribution that will be based on the infrastructure that currently exists at the basin level, whether it will be drinking water supply infrastructure, irrigation infrastructure, and the hydroelectric infrastructure. From the point of view of this first scenario, simulations have given about 24 billion CFA francs that will be mobilized per year to feed the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund.
L'adaptation au changement climatique. La Banque africaine de développement, donc, comme son nom l'indique.
The African Development Bank, as its name indicates, is the bank of the 55 African countries, and our role is to support African countries and organizations to improve the living condition of the population in a sustainable manner. The main principle of this fund is to say that maintaining water quality and quantity has a price. Therefore, the big users who make money by developing economic activities through this water must contribute to the maintenance of the quality and the quantity of this water because it is the raw material. That is the principle of this fund, so that it can be used by the countries to go everywhere in the basin to carry out activities or projection of the river. Our role as part of the PIDACC is really to support the state to be able to deploy the roadmap of the implementation of this regional fund. Since the feasibility studies have already been completed, countries are currently initiating consultation at the country level in order to obtain the support of the countries and put in place the necessary legal instruments.
In order to set up this FRACC, we believe that advocacy with the actors who will finance the FRACC is necessary. This will involve raising the awareness of policymakers, the main actors whose activities are dependent on the resources of the basin, particularly water resources and benefits, and the sustainability of development activities in our countries.
Maintaining the quantity and quality of the water of the Niger River implies significant investment, supported by the users because of the close link of their activities with the natural resources of the basin. In concrete terms, what will the financing of environmental service be used for in the context of climate change?
Les fonds que nous allons récolter à travers le FRAC sont des fonds qui seront destinés à mettre en place le mécanisme pour le paiement des services environnementaux.
The funds that we have collected through FRACC will be used to set up mechanism for the payment of environmental services for the Niger River basin. Will be used to solve the problems of degradation of the Niger River basin, to restore the ecosystem of the Niger River basin, to make this ecosystem resilient to climate change as well as the population of the basin. This must be done on the basis of upstream, downstream solidarity, because you know that someone who is said upstream, who receive a lot of water, can erect large hydraulic facilities to prevent those who are downstream from having water. If you really want this solidarity to work, we must have the resources to be able to invest upstream to treat the headwaters correctly, to encourage the population at the headwaters to have sufficient food resources and all the resources they need to fight poverty and immigration in these regions, so that the basin can function normally. That is to say, the ecosystem can be in balance, so that the water can come into the river through the various, by crossing the lower Niger, the middle Niger, and the upper Niger.
L'ensemble du bassin, depuis la Guinée jusqu'au Nigeria, en traversant aussi bien le Niger inférieur, le Niger moyen et jusqu'au Niger supérieur.
Au Mali, for example, the Selingi Dam, installed one of the tributaries of the Niger River, contributes directly to meeting up to 40% of Mali's electricity needs, particularly those of Bamako. The waters of the Niger River are used to ensure the irrigation of the office, the Niger, even in the off-season.
L'Office du Niger.
You know, today, when we talk about Benin, like other countries of the Niger Basin, these countries suffer the adverse effect of climate change, and it is the population who are really the most affected. This fund will allow us the intensity, resilience actions in favor of this population.
Donc de ces populations.
The transparent management mechanism of the FRACC to ensure a transparent management of the Regional Climate Change Adaptation Fund, FRACC, and the mechanism of payment for environmental service. Several mechanisms have been put in place.
Il faut noter qu'il y aura un conseil d'administration.
It should be noted that there will be a board of governors that will give the main guidelines. The executive secretariat will be responsible for executing the guidelines is given by the boards of governors. We also have the technical and the scientific committee that will have to provide advisory opinions to the fund managers and the executive secretariat. And we have the investment committee. These are financial experts who must be able to monitor and also give advisory opinion to the fund managers and the executive secretariat.
On a aussi des avis consultatifs aux gestionnaires des fonds et au secrétariat exécutif.
The advent of this endogenous sustainable fund, coupled with a mechanism of payment for environmental service (PES), fed by several sources, of financing will be the miracle solution for the guarantee of the safeguard of Niger River and consequently for the development of the member country of its basin.